Hello students, good day. How are you? Yeah, you must be fine. I think you must be watching me over your TV screens eagerly. Now, I am going to tell you a story of young Casablanca, a 13-year-old boy, son of an admiral of Orient in the 18th century. You know, the story actually happened in the history of French, the War of Nile. Young Casablanca accompanied his father in the War of Nile. His father took him along with the war. While he was leaving, he had asked his son to stay on the deck of the ship, and he left his son. Our young Casablanca obeyed his father's, he trusted his father's words, and he stayed there. Soon after the war began, the ship was ablaze. The fire spread in front of him, behind him, around him. But young Casablanca could not move from here. Then some of the men shouted him, "Hey man, jump from here. You jump into the leap, otherwise you will die." Casablanca replied that, "I mustn't move from here. I must stay here till my father asks." Most of the soldiers had been wounded. They made a small boat and they jumped into it. Now, Casablanca cried bitterly, "Oh father, speak louder. You have to speak louder now. You have to speak louder now, otherwise I will die." But he did not know his father was lying under the deck. A cannonball had struck him dead. Casablanca was awaiting his father's order. But to his dismay and unfortunate, his father also had been died. So, to keep up his father's words, Casablanca stood there, and he also had to sacrifice his life in order to keep up his father's words. Students, it doesn't mean that we also should sacrifice our lives in the same situation, but how a son had taken his father's granted, has taken his father's word granted, you know. So, in the conversation, you must have watched me using these dialogues like this: "Son, you must stay here." "Must I stay here?" "I mustn't move from here." Casablanca said, "No, I mustn't move from here. You have to jump now, or else you will die." Once again, "You have to jump now, or else you will die." Now, you must have understood what I am going to teach you. Let us see the clipping. You must stop. You must stop. Here, red light is shown here. It's an indication, and moreover, it's a strong advice also. You must stop here. దాని అర్థం ఇక్కడ మీరు ఆగిపోవాలి. You can see here, we must respect our national flag. You can see here two men, and one is hoisting the flag and one is respecting the flag, and we must respect our national flag. Here, how the traffic rules are being observed here, you can say, we have to follow traffic rules. How the word "have to" is being used here. We have to follow traffic rules. మనందరం ఖచ్చితంగా ట్రాఫిక్ నిబంధనల్ని పాటించాలి. Here this boy is still sleeping and he says, I need not go to school on Sundays. Since that day is a Sunday, he says, I need not go to school on Sundays. And if the driver is driving car very fast, and here is a caption, you mustn't drive here, you mustn't drive fast, it is prohibited. Now students, you must have understood what we are going to learn in this lesson. Yeah, you are correct. We are going to learn must, have to, mustn't, need. These are all modal auxiliary verbs. Let us go into another. We'll learn structure of must here. Must is a modal auxiliary verb. It is followed by a main verb. The structure is, here you can see subject, auxiliary, must or mustn't, main verb. You must stop now. Here must indicates an obligation or necessary. You must not drive fast. You can watch here, in the written English we use must not. So when we speak in the spoken English, you can as well say mustn't. So must not becomes mustn't when we speak like that. Now we shall go in detail the rules and regulations of must. Must expresses obligation or necessity in the present and in the future. So this is actually taken from our textbook, 9th class textbook, unit number 6. The rule is must expresses obligation or necessity in the present and in the future. అంటే మస్ట్ ఆక్సిలరీ వెబ్గా ఎప్పుడు వాడతామంటే మనం ఖచ్చితంగా ఆ పని చేయవలసి ఉన్న ఆవశ్యకతను చెప్తున్న ప్రస్తుత కాలంలో కానీ భవిష్యత్ కాలంలో కానీ మస్ట్ మనం ఉపయోగిస్తాము. ఎగ్జాంపుల్, వీ మస్ట్ గో నౌ, ఇట్ ఈస్ గెటింగ్ లేట్. మనం ఇప్పుడు ఖచ్చితంగా వెళ్ళాలి, ఇంకా ఆలస్యం అయిపోతుంది అని వాడతాం. And students, you must be writing so many examinations nowadays. In the question paper, what will you see in the beginning? There will be instructions how to answer to the questions. So the instruction will be like that. Candidates must answer all the questions in section A. అంటే సెక్షన్ ఏలో ఉన్న అన్ని క్వశ్చన్స్ని మీరు తప్పకుండా ఆన్సర్ చేయాలి. హియర్ how must is being used here. Let me explain to you another table here. We have to get up early. She had to work hard. We can see here have to in the present, past and in future expresses responsibility. So past time lo aithenemo she had to work hard. You can say like this, last night you studied very well. So I can say you had to work hard last night. You had to stay till midnight. You can see here, I needn't get up early. Today is Sunday. ఈ రోజు ఆదివారము, అందుకని నేను ఎర్లీగా నిద్ర లెగవాల్సిన అవసరము లేదు. హియర్ needn't shows absence of obligation, and in the later lesson we will know the delicate difference between need not and must not, and must and have to. I shall show you the rules. Have to is used to say that it is necessary to do something. Example, Farhana's eyes are not very good. She has to wear glasses for reading. ఫరానా యొక్క కళ్ళు బాగలేవు, ఆరోగ్యంగా లేవు. షీ హ్యాస్ టు వేర్ గ్లాసెస్ ఫర్ రీడింగ్. అందుకని చదువుట గురించి ఆమె గ్లాసెస్ని ధరించాలి. హియర్ హ్యాడ్ టు ఈజ్ యూజ్డ్ టు ఎక్స్ప్రెస్ పాస్ట్ ఆబ్లిగేషన్. Nadira was not feeling well last night. She had to leave the party early. Nadira was feeling last night. She had to leave party early. Show you another slide. Needn't or do not need. Needn't is used to show absence of obligation or necessity. It is wrong to use needn't for this purpose. So once again let me explain this. Needn't or do not need is used to show absence of obligation or necessity. It is wrong to use mustn't for this purpose. Need not వాడే దగ్గర must not వాడటం అనేది తప్పు అని ఇక్కడ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ చెప్తుంది. We needn't hurry. There is plenty of time. అంటే మనం ఇప్పుడు తొందరపడాల్సిన అవసరం లేదు, చాలా టైం ఉన్నది, అక్కడ చాలా టైం ఉందని. హియర్ ఇన్ ద ఎర్లియర్ ఐ హ్యాడ్ షోన్ యూ అ స్లైడ్. ఇన్ ద స్లైడ్ యూ మస్టంట్ డ్రైవ్ ఫాస్ట్. దట్ మీన్స్ ఇట్ ఈస్ ప్రొహిబిటెడ్. డ్రైవింగ్ ఫాస్ట్ ఈజ్ ప్రొహిబిటెడ్. ఇన్ ది స్లైడ్ యూ నీడ్ నాట్ డ్రైవ్ ఫాస్ట్. దట్ షోస్ there is no hurry for you to drive fast. There is plenty of time. That's why you needn't drive fast. Shall I show you an actual situation in a classroom? Yeah, we are going to watch an actual situation in a classroom, and he is going to play a teacher's role, and this is the classroom, 9th class in a government high school. And shall we watch the program now? Now students, you have watched in the conversation the uses of must, mustn't, need and needn't, and the teacher also said like this: you have to bring your English textbooks with you. So shall I show you the actual lesson in our textbook? So this is a role play. He first says like this: students, you must all come to class in time. You must be regular in attendance. Next, you have to bring your English books with you every day. You need not to keep separate notebooks for writing and handwriting. You need to keep separate notebooks for writing and handwriting. You have to write an English test every week. By the way, you needn't stand up when I enter the class, but you mustn't talk. Now you must have understood how must and mustn't have been used here and needn't in the conversation. Let us know something detail about these auxiliary verbs in the coming clipping.
Today, these children are going to play a role play. In that play, she is acting as a mother. She is acting as a father. Miss A is acting as a patient center, and she is acting as a doctor. Can you see the play?
Shikhar has very high fever. I think we must call the doctor. Should I ring him up? Yes, please do. Hello, doctor. Doctor, do we have to take him to hospital? No, you need not. But you must look after him very carefully. He must stay in bed. Okay, doctor. He mustn't get up at all. Okay, doctor. Must we keep him on a liquid diet? Yes, you must. He mustn't eat anything solid for at least 3 days. Thank you, doctor.
Now we can understand the uses of must, mustn't, need and needn't in the role play played by students as doctor, mother, father and a patient. How they reacted in a natural situation. For example, must we take him to the hospital, doctor? How doctor replies, you mustn't. You must keep him on liquid diet for 3 days. So I shall explain to you a reading passage. So we are going to learn a reading passage. I will read the passage food and sickness. You will have to read along with me over the TV screens. Before we read the reading passage, I intend to explain to you meanings of some words that we come across in the reading passage. The name of the passage is food and sickness. We all know the meaning of food, aharamu. Sickness ante aharamu mariyu జబ్బులు. ఈ ప్యాసేజ్లో హైపర్ టెన్షన్ అంటే మనం బీపీ అని కూడా అంటాము, దాన్ని బ్లడ్ ప్రెషర్, రక్తపోటు అంటాము. అలాగే డయాబెటీస్ అంటే మధుమేహం లేక చక్కెర వ్యాధి. రక్తంలో ఇన్సులిన్ సరఫరా తగ్గితే డయాబెటీస్ వ్యాధి వస్తుంది. అలాగే డయాబెటిక్ అంటే a patient who is suffering from diabetes. Faint avadamu ante spruha kolpovatam. So these are the strange words that we come across in the passage. Now we are going to read the passage. The dialogue is, mother, yes please do. Do we have to take him to hospital, doctor? No, you needn't. But you must look after him very carefully. He must stay in bed. He mustn't get up at all. Mother says, must we keep him on a liquid diet? Yes, you must. He mustn't eat anything solid for at least 3 days. Now I am going to read the passage. Food and sickness. As I have already explained to you the meanings in the passage, we shall go through the passage, and remember at the end of the passage I am going to ask you some questions. You will have to answer to my questions. Now I am beginning. It is curious how certain diseases compel men to change their habits. One cannot fight cancer by changing food habits. For example, on the other hand, diabetes and blood pressure have to be controlled by discontinuing certain habits and cultivating certain others. The diabetic must avoid sugar and the patient with hypertension must avoid salt. The diabetic needn't stop drinking coffee or tea, but he mustn't have sugar in either. The man with hypertension needn't stop drinking coffee or tea, but he mustn't have sugar in either. The man with hypertension needn't stop eating meat, fish or chicken, but there mustn't be salt in any of them. I knew a man of 63 who, after a year of salt-free diet, said, I am fed up. The stuff I have to eat is not food at all. He told his wife that he needn't cook for him separately. In 10 days, he had to be admitted in hospital. He had fainted on the road when he was taking an evening walk. Now, let us comprehend the passage. First question is, what must a diabetic avoid? The diabetic must avoid sugar. The diabetic must avoid sugar. Yeah. What must a diabetic avoid? Sugar. Second question, what is dangerous to a man suffering from high blood pressure? Yeah, you can read here. Must avoid salt. What is dangerous to a man suffering from high blood pressure? Salt. So, salt is dangerous for a man who is suffering from high blood pressure. Must a diabetic stop drinking coffee? I think no. The diabetic needn't stop drinking coffee. Yeah, he mustn't. A diabetic mustn't stop drinking coffee. Why did the old man have to go to hospital? The old man had to go to hospital because he had not taken salt-free diet. Have you comprehended the passage, students? Yeah, you must have understood very well the usage of have to, need, must, mustn't in the passage. Now, I am going to explain to you an exercise in our workbook. You can see here, Mr. Ali has been very ill. The doctor is talking to him, telling him about things to do and things to avoid. మళ్ళీ ఒకసారి, మిస్టర్ ఆలీ హ్యాస్ బీన్ వెరీ ఇల్. ఆలీ అనే ఆయన చాలా జబ్బుతో ఉన్నాడు. ఆయన డాక్టర్ దగ్గరికి వెళ్ళాడు. ద డాక్టర్ ఈజ్ టాకింగ్ టు హిమ్. డాక్టర్ ఆయనతో మాట్లాడుతున్నాడు. టెల్లింగ్ హిమ్ అబౌట్ థింగ్స్ టు డూ అండ్ థింగ్స్ టు అవాయిడ్. ఏ పనులు చేయొచ్చు, ఏ పనులు చేయకూడదు, ఆహార నియంత్రణ ఎలా చేయాలి అని చెప్పి డాక్టర్ ఆలీకి సలహాలు చెప్తూ ఉన్నాడు. యూ కెన్ సీ హియర్, he is doctor and this boy is Ali. So, you can watch their conversation. Shall we watch their conversation now? Yeah. Mr. Ali, it is necessary that you eat plenty of lightly boiled vegetables. Once again, Mr. Ali, it is necessary that you eat plenty of lightly boiled vegetables. ఇక్కడ మస్ట్ ఉపయోగించి ఈ వాక్యాన్ని మనం తయారు చేయాలి. ఓకే, ది ఆన్సర్ ఈస్ Mr. Ali, you must eat plenty of lightly boiled vegetables. ఇక్కడ ఇట్ ఈజ్ నెసెసరీ బదులు మస్ట్ ఎలా ఉపయోగించామో మీరు అర్థం చేసుకోవాలి ఇక్కడ. నౌ యూ కెన్ వాచ్ ద ప్రోగ్రామ్.
Yes, sir. You mustn't eat spicy food. Yes, sir. You must drink plenty of water. Yes, sir. You need to take a short walk every morning. Yes, sir. You mustn't do strenuous exercise. Yes, sir. You mustn't smoke. Yes, sir. You have to see me again next week. Yes, sir. Doctor, should I eat sweets? No, you mustn't. How much should I pay, doctor? Only 1,000 rupees. Huh?
Now we shall do exercises here. You have just heard the doctor saying to Ali to avoid oily food. ఇక్కడ మనం మస్ట్ నాట్ ఉపయోగించి అంటే మసంట్ ఉపయోగించి ఎలా రాస్తాము అన్నది చూడాలి. ఎస్, యు ఆర్ కరెక్ట్. యూ మసంట్ ఈట్ ఆయిలీ ఫుడ్. డాక్టర్ ఆస్క్స్ హిమ్ టు అవాయిడ్ oily food. Instead of avoiding oily food, mustn't ఉపయోగించి you mustn't eat oily food. Doctor says avoid spicy food. ఇక్కడ mustn't ఉపయోగించి చెప్పాలి. ఓకే, you mustn't eat spicy food. It is necessary that you drink plenty of water. Must. You can as well answer to the question, you must drink plenty of water. Yeah, you must drink plenty of water. Here, it is necessary that you drink plenty of water. How necessary is being transformed into must. So here once again I emphasize that must is used to emphasize obligation or necessity. It is necessary that you take a short walk every morning. Here need ఉపయోగించి sentence రాయాలి. You need to take a short walk every morning. We can as well learn from this example. It is necessary that you take a short walk every morning. Here necessity ని need to గా ఎలా ఎక్స్ప్రెస్ చేయాలో చెప్పాలి. Students, later I shall explain to you the uses of need to. Need is a strange kind of verb. Sometimes it can be used as a main verb. For example, I want to purchase a new pen. I can say that I need a new pen. నాకు కొంచెం డబ్బులు కావాలి అంటే I need some money. Here need is used as main verb. In some cases need తర్వాత to infinitive వచ్చి need to అనే ఎక్స్ప్రెషన్తో వాడతాం. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఇందాక డాక్టరు యూ నీడ్ టు టేక్ ఏ షార్ట్ వాక్ ఎవ్రీ డే అన్నాడు. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఐ నీడ్ టు డ్రింక్ వాటర్. నేను ఇప్పుడు వాటర్ తాగాల్సిన అవసరం ఉంది ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్. అలాగే నీడ్ నాట్ని నెగిటివ్ సెన్స్లో నీడెంట్ తర్వాత టు ప్లస్ ఇన్ఫినిటివ్. ఇన్ ద ఎర్లియర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ వీ హ్యావ్ వాచ్డ్ దట్ the boy says, I need not go to school. I need not go to school on Sundays. So need can be understood in three forms: need, need to, and need not. Shall we go to next example? Doctor asked him, doing strenuous exercise is prohibited. Here must not. You mustn't do strenuous exercise. Remember, in the beginning I have explained to you, must not can be spoken like mustn't. In spoken English, must not can be used as mustn't. And remember that you are not allowed to smoke. Must not. Doctor warns him against smoking. So you must not smoke. You must not smoke. Doctor says like that, you must not smoke. You mustn't smoke. Answer is, you mustn't smoke. Here, it is dangerous for you if you smoke. And doctor lastly says like this, don't forget to see me again next week. Doctor reminds him that he has to see him again next week. Here the answer, you have to see me again next week. How this have to is being used here. Now students, from the conversation between the doctor and the patient Ali, we have learnt more about must and mustn't and have to and need to. So from these examples, you also try to practice the same conversations using must as auxiliary verbs and mustn't, needn't like this. Before we close the lesson, shall I explain to you, shall I repeat the lesson that we have learnt so far? So in the beginning, I have started with telling you a story of young Casabianca, who was a warrior and who had to sacrifice his life in order to keep up his father's words. From the story, we have taken some conversation dialogues. Father, must I stay here? I must not move from here. You have to jump or else you die. You have to speak louder, father. After that, I have shown you a traffic signal showing a red indication. You must stop here. And we must respect our national flag. Here students, I want to tell you a subtle difference between must and have to. Must is an obligation imposed by the speaker. For example, I must respect my parents. There is another sentence, I have to respect my parents. In these two sentences, I must respect my parents will be an appropriate sentence, because respecting my parents is an obligation that I impose upon myself. I don't need a situation, an external agency, then I will say I have to respect my parents. So here I respect my parents is a correct usage. After that, I have shown you actual clipping in the classroom, a student playing a role of teacher and the remaining students responding to him as in a real classroom situation, and in that conversation how he has used our auxiliary modal verbs must, mustn't, need and needn't, showing obligation and necessity. After that, you have watched a dialogue, a role play among a student, a father, a mother, doctor and a patient, and how a mother expresses must we take him to hospital, how doctor advises no you mustn't, no you needn't. After that, we have learnt a real conversation between a doctor and patient Ali, how doctor advises patient Ali about the do's and don'ts, using him, you need to take a short walk every day and you must not smoke, you have to see me again next week. And we have read a reading story also about food and sickness, how certain diseases compel men to follow a diet. In the reading passage, we have learnt once again the uses of needn't, need and must, mustn't. After that, we have comprehended the passage, and I have explained to you the three uses of need, need to, and needn't. And let me add you some more examples. Suppose a teacher says, Ramu, you must cut your hair short. That is teacher's order, an obligation imposed by the teacher. Ramu, you must cut your hair short. Here another example, headmaster says, Ravi, you have to cut your hair short. Since you have joined NCC, you have to cut your hair short. So this is the difference between a must and have to. Once again, I intend to discriminate between a mustn't and needn't. Smoking is prohibited here. You must not smoke. You must not smoke. And the earlier two examples is, you must not drive fast. You need not drive fast. There is difference between these two expressions. You mustn't drive fast means driving fast is prohibited here. You need not drive fast means there is plenty of time, you need not drive. Once again, students, what is today? Today is a working day. Today in the morning we had to come to school, a past obligation. Tomorrow we have to come to school. What about on Saturdays? Yeah, on Saturdays also we have to go to school. How about coming Sunday? On Sundays we need not go to school. Like this, we have learnt much usages expressing must and need and needn't. So I trust that in the coming programs we shall learn more about must, usage of mustn't, need and needn't. So once again, I want to repeat the importance of must and mustn't, need and needn't, have to. Remember, these are modal auxiliary verbs. And once again, for third person singular also, you needn't use have to. For example, Farah's eyes are not good. She has to wear glasses. And we have learnt an example also. She worked hard last night. The expression is, she had to work hard last night. So how the difference between have to and had to in the present time and past time are being used. So I am glad that you have learnt the usage of must as an auxiliary verb. So I look forward to a very good class next time, and until then, my students, I take leave. Good day.